Nadhim Zahawi to answer the substantive question that's been tabled by Hannah Bardell. Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I, with your permission, would like to answer this question together with question 19. My department is working closely with the Treasury on the coronavirus job retention scheme and the wider government response. In developing the scheme, Mr. Speaker, the government has prioritised helping the greatest number of people as quickly as possible.
Go over to Hannah Bardell. Hannah Bardell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And whilst the additional flexibility is welcome, the jobs retention scheme does nothing for those outside its arbitrary limits, like my Livingston constituent, stonemason Jason Hoffman. He has a small limited business and makes up a modest salary with legal and tax-efficient annual dividends. In Jason's case, he doesn't qualify for the scheme, he isn't eligible for universal credit, and he can't furlough himself because he couldn't bid for work and his business would collapse. So how many small businesses like Jason's will be destroyed before this Conservative government finally listens and includes them in the scheme? And what comfort can he give to my constituent today?
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As I said earlier, what we've tried to do, Mr. Speaker, is prioritise helping the greatest number of people as quickly as possible, in terms of making sure that other people can be helped, including those who are self-employed, that a scheme for them is also available, and we've tried to do as much as we can through grants as well, through local government, including 617 million in discretionary grants for businesses who may not be registered for business rates, who can get that additional help, was announced over the last 48 hours.
We go over to Gavin Newlands. Gavin Newlands.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm not entirely sure that the Minister or his Secretary of State is actually listening, because the truth is the coronavirus business loan schemes aren't working, in part because some lenders don't trust the government to stand full square behind their loan guarantee without potentially moving the goalposts at a future date. Loganair is one of the many businesses in my constituency with an urgent need to access this scheme through an overly cautious and risk-averse lender. So what can the Minister and his colleagues in the Treasury do about this?
Minister.
I'm sorry the honourable gentleman feels that way, but his counterpart, Fiona Hislop, in the Scottish Government, who I speak to every week, as I do with Ken Skates in Wales and Dan Dodds in Northern Ireland on our weekly calls, thinks actually the schemes are working well. We have improved them as we've reviewed them and made them better, and we've launched the Bounce Back scheme, which is much simpler, 2 to 50,000, that can get money in the bank within 24 hours.
We have a substantive question from Clive Efford, Minister. Clive Efford to be answered.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Profiteering in PPE is completely unacceptable, and I want to be clear that no one should be seeking to exploit this health emergency for financial gain.
Clive Efford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's a very disappointing answer, because this problem has been added to by the failure of the government to stockpile PPE, and there are numerous examples of people exploiting this situation. So it's only going to get worse if the government does not act quickly. So will he commit to legislating to take power to act against these operators who are exploiting this situation?
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Competition and Markets Authority, Mr. Speaker, has already written to the small number of firms suspected of profiteering, and the Secretary of State has recently met with businesses and consumer representatives to discuss what further action might be necessary to address this issue. The vast majority of firms, Mr. Speaker, and I have to put this on record, are acting responsibly, and we have seen so many across the UK supporting the national effort to tackle COVID-19, such as Brewdog, Diageo and hundreds of small operators across the country. But as I said, the Secretary of State keeps the option always open.
We now come to